Well, howdy, physics sleuths and inquisitive souls, and welcome again to yet another lecture of dynamic gravity. So, today, we're going to go over something that's really been bugging me for the last 20 years now. Like an itch in my brain that I can't scratch, and I don't like it one bit. Pluto is a planet. It always was a planet, and it always will be a planet. I don't care what the haters say. For I am Gog, the god of gravity, and I deem it so. The way it is. But, because some of y'all are not satisfied with such brutish authoritative tactics, let us elaborate and explain why I've deemed it a planet. So, let's begin. Oh, and the next episode, I think I'm finally going to do it. I'm finally going to drop on y'all the insanity of Other Realm. That one's going to be a doozy, so you don't want to miss that one. Okay, so we got Pluto, okay? And it was discovered back in, like, I don't know, the 50s or something, a long time ago. Discovered, 1930. Further back than I thought. Yeah, it's been around a long time. It was a planet for a long time. It was a planet for, what's that, like over 70 years before it was demoted. And it's named by a little 11-year-old girl. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's sweet. That's so sweet. They just took it all away like it meant nothing. All right, that's a small planet. It is small. It's only 1,500 miles in diameter. But this is what's important. And this is the most important attribute by far in determining whether something is a celestial body or just like an asteroid or a clump of matter that, really can't pull itself together. Is it round? Like almost perfectly round. I mean, of course, it's not perfectly round because it's rotating and it's going to make the equator spin out a little, more than the poles, but that's pretty damn round, dude. I mean, look at this. This is pretty round, okay? This is like if Leonardo da Vinci drew this circle in his prime, it would have been one of his perfect circles. They would have deemed it a perfect circle, and they did when he did it, and that was how he got the street crowd. All right? But there is a problem with Pluto. It is the only planet that goes into the Oort cloud. Okay? Now, the Oort cloud, see, here's all your other planets. Like here's Mercury, here's Neptune. Doop, doop, doop. Boop, bop, beep. There's Neptune. And yeah, Pluto's not even here. It'd probably be like right around here though. It's pretty far away, man. It's pretty far away. It is not close. Man, this is what the Oort cloud looks like. Okay, so this is our solar system. And we got a solar system. We got what's called the Kuiper belt, which is like a giant asteroid belt, after Neptune. And then you have the Oort cloud, which is just this sphere of large asteroids, in meteors, whatever, that are just kind of floating out there. Large chunks of ice, like a lot of comets, just a lot of junk. A lot of stuff that's just too small to be a celestial body. And what's our definition of a celestial body? Oh, that's right. It has to be spherical, like completely round. Well, there's really nothing else that we have found. in the Oort cloud that is also round like Pluto. Okay, there just isn't. It's the only one. So this whole thing where they say like, well, there's 150 Plutos in the Oort cloud. If we make Pluto a planet, then we have to make them all planets, and they're all the same as Pluto. That's bullshit, dude. They're lying to you. They're pissing on you and telling you it's a gentle summer rain. There ain't nothing in the Oort cloud that's like Pluto. Ain't nothing. At least not that we found. So don't listen to all that hogwash. All right? That ain't how we does stuff up around her. Okay? So we're going to start getting a little more into this. Okay? So, Pluto. Okay? Where do they go into? Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah. Release it with Neptune. Okay, so here's the story. All right, Pluto was a planet forever and a day, and then around like 1999, Neil deGrasse Tyson, um, this dude, Neil deGrasse Tyson, somehow magically becomes the head orator or in charge, the head manager at like the New York Planetarium. Okay, a big planetarium, an important one. He got it from affirmative action or something because he's black. It sure ain't because he's a good fucking astronomer. I can guarantee you that much. However, he got that job. It ain't on the merit of his astronomy. 100%. I'll fight you on that one. So, he wants to make a deal. He wants to make a scene because Neil deGrasse Tyson is not stupid when it comes to the media. He knows that any publicity is good publicity. So what does he do? He creates an observatory, right? I think he even says it here.
System that we were talking about that's 40 light years away that's got the 7 stars.
Blah, 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 blah.
I didn't tell you to pull out that photo.
Well, I just only photo we've got closer to home that you're associated with that you got in trouble. We're on the group of people that was advising whether Pluto should remain a planet many years ago, about 10 plus years ago, right?
Well, yeah, we voted. We
elite planet people.
American Museum of Natural History, when we redid our exhibits, we said Pluto belongs here, not there.
Okay, so the American, where's that?
Belongs here, not there. When we redid our exhibits, we said Pluto belongs here, not there.
People.
We, at the American Museum of Natural History, when
American Museum of Natural History.
we redid our exhibits, we said Pluto belongs here, not there, with its other icy brethren in the outer.
No one else was saying this. This was completely 100% just Neil deGrasse Tyson just doing this, just causing trouble because the media is going to respond. All right, so he becomes in charge of this planetarium, whatever, and they want to make this big solar system map, right? But he doesn't want Pluto to be a planet, so he takes it out of the planets and just puts it as like a comet or some bullshit like that. Okay.
Outer solar system.
Okay, you took a lot of heat for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I, I was an accessory to that decision, but.
Oh, you almost said crime. You almost
no,
said crime.
there are people like Mike Brown who.
Look at how he is relishing this, dude. He loves all the media from this. He loves it all. And look, now he's trying to pass the buck, to blame it on Mike Brown. Oh, technically, there's more Mike Brown. I just brought everybody's attention. They just went with it.
Discovered the objects in the outer solar system that forced that vote. In fact, he's guilty. In fact, his Twitter handle is called Pluto Killer.
Yeah, he loves it, man.
Admits
He's relishing it. He's relishing it. Okay. So, we go to Planet X. Okay. 150 nomination on the letters, telegrams sent to Lowell have been blah, blah, blah. 11-year-old schoolgirl, Oxford, class for mythology. Okay, Okay. Once it was found, astronomers initially calculated its mass and blah, 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 blah. Okay, in 1976, finding it matched with methane ice. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Wait, here we go. Okay. From 1992 onwards, many bodies were discovered orbiting a volume, the same volume as Pluto, not the same mass. And they think it's the same volume. They haven't even sent a satellite out there. They don't know. They don't know. They have no probes out there. They can only look at it from these old telescopes. It's just a dot, and they're trying to figure out how big of a dot it is and how reflective it is, and they don't know. Okay? So it's part of a population of objects called the Kuiper Belt. Yes, the Kuiper Belt is a giant asteroid belt with a bunch of asteroids. And Pluto is the only Pluto there. This makes its official status as a planet controversial, with many questioning whether Pluto should be considered together or separately with its surrounding population. Museum planetarium directors, Neil deGrasse Tyson, occasionally created controversy by omitting Pluto from planetary models of the solar system. In February 2000, the Hayden Planetarium in New York City displayed a solar system map with only 8 planets, and the headlines almost a year later. So, yeah, Ceres, Pallas, all lost their planet status. Ceres was never a planet. It was just a giant asteroid. Everybody knew that. See, they're just completing the facts now, man. They just don't. They know they done messed up and they don't want to admit it. This is stupid. So, what happens is, okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson, calls through this, IA, International Astronomical Union, which is how they classify name things in space. He says, I want you guys to take a vote to rename Pluto to be a small planet, a dwarf planet. And, they did that, right? They did that because they have these 3 objects. Say, okay, well, if we're going to have to pick on Pluto, we have to find something that's different about Pluto than the other planets. So what can we pick on? And every planet has like something you can pick on, okay? You could easily say, just because, well, I think that a planet should be able to clear its own path around its orbit, so it can't have any rings. So if a planet has rings, then it can't be a planet, and it's got to be a dwarf planet. Because it clearly can't clear its own path out. You could do that. And that's the stupidest thing you could ever do because Jupiter and Saturn have rings, but they're clearly planets by every definition. So this is what they do to Pluto. Only instead of saying rings, they say, okay, well, they say the first one is the object must orbit the sun to be a planet. Kind of a simplistic definition, seems pretty obvious, right? If it's not orbiting the star, then it's not really a planet to that star. Duh. Makes sense. The second one makes sense also. The object must be massive enough to be rounded by its own gravity. Okay? Now, there's something special that happens when you have an object round like this, okay? It now has enough anti-gravity that it can generate where it can sustain a moon. Yes. This is all math. I have all the math to do this. Look at my math, everything, it's all there. Calculate everything for all the moons and sources, everything, it's all there. All right? And what happens, I have found that once you get enough mass, about the size of Pluto, you magically have enough mass to sustain a moon. Okay? Now, what a moon that can sustain, how big that moon is, it all depends on the size of the planet. But it can sustain a moon. It can have a moon orbiting that'll never crash into it. Now, if it has its own moon, that's a good sign that it's got enough mass to be a planet. But this by itself is not... I'm going to put my foot in my mouth too. Because I remember there are some objects that do have moon-like rotations going around them in the Kuiper Belt they have discovered in the Oort cloud. But it's different. It's not a planet that's stationary with the moon around it. These are more objects that are kind of similar in size that are orbiting each other. It's a caveat, but it matters. Okay, things get complicated when you're dealing with a million bazillion objects. Okay, you have all sorts of oddballs that come into play. But If it's round enough to be perfectly round, it can definitely sustain a good moon. It is large enough to be a planet if it is orbiting your star. Okay. Now, so these are two that make sense. Okay, and now they gotta throw the crazy one to kick Pluto in the nuts and kick it out of the club. Now, the third rule they have, it must have cleared. Hot data dog. Where'd it go? Okay. It must have cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. So this is what they do. But this is stupid. This does not make sense for two reasons that I'm going to explain to you. Okay? So they're basically saying that, okay, well, because Pluto is in the Oort cloud, and it does this long thing. Let's see, can we get it? Pluto. Here we go. See how Pluto, how far it goes out. Boop, 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 boop. It goes pretty far out. Okay? Because Pluto goes so far out of its orbit that it actually goes into the Kuiper Belt, into the Oort cloud. Here's this little moons. Oh, here's the rules again, too, that we just read. So stupid. So stupid. But because it goes in the Oort cloud, there's no way it can ever clear its orbit because there's just way too much stuff out there. All right? That would be like it's everywhere. There's no way you could have a planet clear out its orbit because there's too much stuff moving dynamically around there, constantly swirling around, doing the comets and all sorts of crazy stuff. So it will never, ever happen, okay? There's no way. So it's not about Pluto. What this rule is essentially doing is saying that any planet or any celestial object that goes into the Kuiper Belt or Oort cloud even a little bit cannot be considered a planet. Now, this is dumb for two reasons, okay? The first reason, yeah, I'm going to say three reasons, okay? Three reasons. The first reason is that, let's say they found Planet X. Planet, the supposedly the huge Jovian Jupiter-sized planet that they think is out there because Einstein's math sucks and it doesn't work. And so they have to have such a large planet hiding here in the Oort cloud that's going to pull on gravitationally on all the other planets to mess them up just enough to get the calculations because Einstein's math is not right. My math is right. I mean, I haven't used it to calculate the precessions of the planets yet, but I'm pretty sure it would do better than Einstein. I'd be willing to put good money on that. But anyways, so to make Einstein's math work, what they have to do is they have to have a giant planet X out there, mathematically, okay? So, let's say they found it. Let's say it's real. And they found another Jupiter hiding out in the Oort cloud, okay? Another Jupiter. And it's bigger than Jupiter. Bigger than Jupiter. How stupid is your planet classification that you have a planet bigger than Jupiter, your biggest planet in your entire solar system, but you have to call it a dwarf planet? It's not a real planet because it can't clear out its path. That's stupid. It's a stupid metric that makes no sense when you scrutinize it. Literally, anything you can add to this system is going to break this classification. That's how stupid it is. But Neil deGrasse Tyson wanted clout, and he wanted fame, and he knew that that was one way to do it, was to be known as the guy that kicked Pluto in the nuts. So he went all in on it, And look at him. Now he's the most famous astronomer ever. For doing what? What has he ever done his whole career? Not a damn thing. Except beat Pluto down. That's it. That's all he's done. Nothing else. Not one thing. So, that's one reason why it's stupid to have Pluto, or that classification standard. Because if you have a large planet that, larger than Jupiter, you'd have to call it a dwarf planet. Okay. Now, another thing is, let's look at these stupid classifications yet again. Okay. What was it? Where were you at? So we taught it. Okay. So it says, right? It must have cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. But guess what? Guess what? Pluto cuts right through the orbit of Neptune. Because Pluto is a little more elliptical than the other planets because it goes so far out. The further out you go, the more elliptical your orbit's going to be. This is just physics. It's the way it goes. But Pluto's orbit is so elliptical. See, if you look here, it actually cuts right through Neptune's orbit. Now, I don't know if it actually goes closer to Neptune's orbit than the sun or further. They word it in a real funny way. It's hard to determine what they're trying to say, but they say like it technically comes closer to the sun than Neptune. Okay, but it doesn't tell us if it cuts through its orbit or not. But by this chart, it looks like it does. It intersects Neptune's orbit, which means Neptune, a planet like the third biggest planet, has not cleared out its orbit according to the new IAU rules. Yeah, that's right. So Neptune, fuck you, you're not a planet according to those rules. Hey, if it's good enough to slay Pluto, it's good enough to slay Neptune. You see how stupid these rules get when you start trying to get all these little, contingencies that only work here but not there. And, the universe doesn't work the way you want it to, bro. Sorry, get over it. So, that's another huge flaw, okay? Is that if we're going to say that it has to clear out its path, well, guess what? It goes through Neptune's path, so it don't clear it out, and neither does Neptune. So that means they're both not planets. So now we only got 7 planets. Yeah. This is getting fun, ain't it, kids? Listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson. All right. Now, a third reason why this is stupid. So stupid. Okay? Meet Eris. Eris is a giant asteroid. Okay? If I'm not mistaken, it's in the asteroid belt. Okay? Because it's a giant asteroid. Now it's big. It's almost big enough to be a planet. And as far as we can tell from these pictures, it looks kind of spherical, but it does look more like a potato, where it's got, kind of oblong, oval shape to it. Eris probably looks more like a potato than it does a planet. Because it's not as big as Pluto. Okay? It's just not. They think maybe it is, but it's really not. I don't even think it's around. We never even sent a spaceship, or not a spaceship, but a satellite to Eris, so we don't know. This is like the best picture we have of Eris, I believe, right here. Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on with that, okay, with that picture. But we need to go and check it out. But I don't think Eris is going to be as big as Pluto, and a lot of people don't think it's going to be as big either. Here's a list of the most massive objects in the solar system. And as you can see, there's the Sun, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Earth, We got Venus. Okay. We got Ganymede. I love Ganymede. Heart goes out there, Ganymede. Titan, Mercury, Callisto, Io, Moon, Europa, Triton, Pluto. Okay. So Pluto, then we got Eris right behind Pluto. Now they think Eris is close to Pluto, but they don't even know because they haven't sent out a probe to it yet. We don't really know yet what we're going to see when we get to Eris. I don't think Eris is going to be as big as they think it is, but no matter what you say, Pluto is bigger or more massive than Eris. Okay? Pluto is a planet. Eris is close. Eris looks like it was almost big enough to be a planet to gather up all of the asteroids and make it a big planet in the asteroid belt right after Mars. But probably the Jovian planets like Saturn and Jupiter are pulling on that so much they believe that it kind of prevented that from happening. Okay? So, my point is, when they say shit to you, like, well, there's 150 objects in the solar system that is just as big as Pluto. And if we got Pluto planet, we gotta call down planet. No, they're lying to you. These is the size of the objects. Look, look at this. There's not many. These are moons. Rhea, that one. I don't know where that one is. That's probably Oort cloud. That one, Oberon, that's a moon. I think Lapidus is a moon. Yes. Yeah, these are moons, dude. Charon, that's Pluto's moon. None of these, except for this one right here, 2007 Oort, is an object in your cloud or Kuiper belt. So they're lying to you when they say that there's 150 objects just as large as Pluto. There ain't. There ain't no objects as large as Pluto. Eris is close. But we don't know enough about Eris to say anything yet because we haven't sent a probe there. Okay? As you can tell, our information on Eris, not the best. Okay? So, those are the three reasons why the IAU is dumb. And this makes no sense. This is nothing more than Neil deGrasse Tyson chasing clout and trying to get famous and rich for kicking Pluto in the nuts. And he did it. He succeeded. Y'all fell for it hook, line, and sinker. So disappointing. All right, but it's not over yet. Okay, there's things we can do. I have made a Pluto community on X. If any of y'all want to join it and help rally the fight, make it ground zero in the battle against making Pluto a planet, the greatest planet forever. I've been running this community for about a year now, and there's no one in it, just me. No one cares. I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to make people care about Pluto. I love Pluto. I love that little heart of Pluto right there. That's because Pluto loves you. And if you don't love Pluto, when it throws its heart out to you, you're a cold-hearted son of a bitch. That's all I gotta say to you. So, if you want, join the community, and we'll try and rally and make this thing for reals. Because I'm serious, yo. If they ever, figure out that I'm right, which I am, 100%, I've explained everything in the whole universe. I've explained what the fine constant structure is, the cosmological antimatter crisis, double slit experiments. I've calculated gravity, dark matter, dark energy with the same equation. I've explained to you what electrons are, quarks are, antimatter is, how every type of antimatter is generated from all the beta plus decay processes. I've done it all, dude. I've explained everything with dynamic gravity, okay? I'm right. They don't know it because they're stupid. One day, someone's going to figure out that I'm right. And when they do, I hope I'm still alive because the only thing I'm going to say to those sons of bitches is I decree Pluto is a planet. Get wrecked. Anyone who disagrees. Sorry. Either I'm the dude that figured it all out and I get my prize, which I get to decide which Pluto is, or I'm not. Got some other activities here too. Here's my dynamic gravity community on X. If you guys are interested, if you ever want to, join the community. This one has 2 members. We're growing, 100% increase. It's not bad. Getting better. But I've been on this one for about a year or 2. All my work, kind of throw in here just to try and let people see it if they want. And then my final community next is the Great Tribulation, year 6, 7. We're almost ready to go to year 7 of 7. And when this is finally done, when the 7 years are up, that's the end of the world. That's it. We get nuked, according to the Bible. That's a whole big thing. I got a video on that called The Great Tribulation. If you want to watch and know into it, how the world's going to end, it's coming. I'm right about gravity. I'm right about physics. And I'm right about God, too. Yeah. Almost like I know shit. I wonder how that is. But I just want you to know,
California, I'm very
I'm
curious.
not the only one.
What's the
I
big
think
deal
Pluto should
about
be,
Pluto? Does it even really matter if it's a planet or not?
Like, this dude is like a pretty big expert on Pluto.
Why all the
And
fuss
he
over
totally,
this icy
he
rock
totally
at the
disagrees
edge
with
of our
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
solar
He's like, yeah, fuck
system?
you, bro.
Yeah.
Pluto's a planet.
Look at
I
that.
don't care what you say. You got it wrong.
Can I venture a guess that
And he
it's been
says,
with us
so don't think
deep
that
in our
all of
culture.
the astronomers are like, yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he speaks for all of us. No, he don't. He really don't. He really do not.
That it's hard to shake any adjustments to those.
Well, that's a guess, but as a scientist,
Yeah.
the real reason is that Pluto is the archetype. It's the heralding body of this whole new type of planet, the dwarf planets that we've discovered in the outer solar system. They're active. They have moons. They have atmospheres in some cases. Far from being a rock, it's a big spherical thing,
Right.
Right, and that's why we call it a planet. We don't know what else to call it.
There you go. All right.
Planet
So
modified
he's basically arguing this should be called a planet, not a dwarf planet, right?
by the word dwarf.
Right.
And
Like giant.
Neil
Giant
deGrasse
planet for Jupiter.
Or
Tyson,
gas.
Yeah,
It's a
which
gas
I
giant.
have a problem. I mean, that's in
he's going to
fact
throw
where
out
we
argument,
agree.
right? He's going to say, well, I don't think that we should call Jupiter a planet either because it's different from Earth.
And one of the correspondents I got back when I was pilloried by third graders, because here people know I don't have to give the backstory.
Look at that. Look at that. He's trying to sell this to a room of third graders, and they ain't buying that crap. They're like, no, dude, Pluto's a planet. What the? Why you keep talking this bullshit, Neil deGrasse Tyson? Third graders, and they know Pluto's a planet.
Here.
Dear Dr. Tyson, why are you so mean?
Well, what's really sad is not that he's mean; it's just that he's wrong.
There you go. Bada boom, bada bang. See, I'm not the only one that thinks
Who is
this.
this Mike Brown you're throwing under
Even-
the bus right now?
Even like
he put himself
Colbert's
under the
giving
bus.
him
I'm
shit for
pointing it
this
out.
like
But here's
7
the thing:
years
is
ago.
that
How
now
many
some
years
of your
ago
buddies
was
at
this?
NASA
7 years ago.
want to reinstate Pluto as a planet because they want the designation of planet to be closer to people's intuition rather than some arbitrary scientific designation. Okay.
Exactly. I couldn't agree
like,
more.
get over it.
Okay.
What I'm saying. Yeah,
See,
Pluto
and
had-
that's
Why
all
do
he's
you
got to
think
say.
you wanna name
Everybody's like, yo, Neil deGrasse Tyson, your classification seems arbitrary and it seems kind of spiteful towards the planet Pluto for no reason. And what's he say? Get over it. I want to be rich.
Pluto had it coming from the beginning. It was like it
It
was
had it
never
coming.
really belong. Pluto's orbit crosses that of another planet. That's no kind of behavior
Neptune.
for a planet.
But yet, he says that's the reason why Pluto can't be a planet, because it hasn't cleared out its orbit. But he just said Neptune hasn't cleared out its orbit yet either. Oh, but why is that still a planet? Oh, because Neil deGrasse Tyson can't get famous twice for demoting 2 planets. That's why. If he could get twice as famous for demoting Neptune, he would try and do it. I'm telling you. That dude is he's a gremlin. He's a dirty gremlin. He wants all the clout and the fame he can get.
Wait, no.
You gotta stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
your lane.
Stay in your lane.
All right. Okay.
No.
Now,
Yeah, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I'm so pissed right now. I'm serious, guy. I'm just so mad. Like, this episode taking a lot out of me. I know. I'm sorry. Anyways, That's what it is. It be what it be. Pluto is a planet, and it's the greatest planet too. F you if you disagree. And join my communities. Let's take over the world. Let's set some things right. And if you made it this far, I love you. Peace out. Goodbye.
Like, subscribe, submit.